Um, well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fajrian from Universitas Pamulang. I'm here for explaining Deixis due to my final test in the sixth semester, in the seventh semester, I mean, pardon. So in here, I would like to explain about what is Deixis, along with the definition of the Deixis and also the kind of the Deixis itself. What is Deixis? What's the function of Deixis, etc. So that's what I am going to tell you today in here about Deixis. Before we talk about the Deixis itself, do you know what is how to say in English? How do you say in English? Saya, kamu, mereka, itu, di sana, di situ. Nah, that kind of word dalam bahasa Indonesia, kata-kata seperti itu untuk merujuk kepada sesuatu, and that's what we call Deixis. Here, the definition of the Deixis itself. The word Deixis is technically a term from Greek for one of the most basic things we do with utterance. The most basic things we do with the utterance. That's basic, that's really basic. Even a baby, they know how to do that. Ini apel, itu semangka. They will say like that in unintentionally because they learn it directly by acquiring the language. And here, what we learn is that the Deixis itself, the name of that kind of pointing in a language, that's what we call Deixis. So that's why Deixis means pointing via language. There are some examples of Deixis itself. There are I, you, they, we, she, it, here, there, this, that, these, now, later, that, there, then, and etc. So that's kind of the definition of the Deixis. That's why we call it Deixis. If you have that kind of word again, the word Deixis again once more, don't make it confused. It's just easy. Deixis is just the name of pointing via language. When I say you are beautiful, you are beautiful, I point to you. Who is the you? The you, it means we need to know the utterance, we need to know the context to understand the Deixis. We need to see who is the you that I am pointing at. You are beautiful. Who is the you? It is an apple. It is referred to the apple. Which apple? The green apple, the red apple. It is this apple. This apple. We know that the this is referred to the apple, but when I say this is sweet, this is sweet. The this is, if we only heard the sentence, we couldn't understand what the meaning of this. What is this? Like that. So the referring to this in this sentence, like you need to know the utterance first. You need to know the context, what we are discussing for, what we are talking about. So that we need to know the context before explaining about Deixis. That's really important, context, because language is not going really far from the context. And it's not just about this, that, and later and other things. We also talk about this subject. When you say like, she is smart. Which she do you mean? Smart. If we talk something like, she, Gabriela, is smart. Gabriela is smart. We know that's Gabriela. The one that's smart is Gabriela. But when we only say she is smart, we need once more, we need to know the context. which she that she mentioned there. Even if we are talking about context once again, she it doesn't always refer to a human, a human girl, but it can refer to an animal, a pet, kind of like that. Sometimes my friend called her his pet like she, her, like that because it's a woman. It's a woman pet. It's a female pet, and so it doesn't always refer. She isn't always refers to the woman, human woman. We can say that, and it is referred to a thing. It cannot refer to a human, so it is referred to a thing. But a thing doesn't always refer to it. It can use the she, he, you, they. It can be. So that's the little bit definition of what the text is. We are going on to the kinds of texts. The first thing that I learned from the book, there are three kind of texts, but as the time goes on, there are many additional texts. There are two additional texts. The first one is discourse texts and the social texts. So we are going to talk about the person texts. The person texts is we are pointing at someone, at a person, not an animal or something like that, but a person. Person texts means we are referring to a noun, an object. So this one, we use the word you, they, we, she, it, that we know as a subject. We can use also object. Also, it contains of the possessive pronoun, possessive adjective. So that's why we call it as a person texts. So when I say their book is gone, their book is gone. The one that gone is book, but whose book? Their book. Who is there? That's what we call as a person texts. We need to know the context first, then we can understand what the meaning of there. So that's the person texts, the first one. Second one is place or special texts. Place of texts. This one we call it. This one we always use it in order to point at something. Noun, usually noun or name of place or something like that. Something like that. That is a place of place or special texts. So that these those, that's what we call as a special texts or place texts. Sometimes we use it to point at a place, to point at something without telling it. It's so far away. It's so far away. That is not good. Which that? Who is that? We can refer to that one. So that's what we call as a place or special texts. And also the third kind of texts is time texts. Time texts is when we are pointing at the time without telling the time itself, such as like the word now, later, today, tonight, or in the morning. You can say that. That's but in the morning is quite specific already. But if we talk about now, if we talk about later, now was now you can go. Now you can go. So what now? What's now? I mean, now is referred to place, name of referred to a time, what date is that at the time, what month, what year. So we don't know. It's only now. So that's not talking specifically about the time. So that's we call it as a time texts. We use the texts to replace the time. Another one is discourse texts. Discourse texts is a texts that we use in a context, such as like uh, so that, so actually, or There was such as like in order like and another that kind of word that we use to refer at something, the thing that we talked a minute ago, the thing that we talked a minute ago, that's what we call as a discourse texas. So we actually use that word in order to revert to something that we talk about, in order to revert the context that we are talking about and behind. So that's what we call discourse texas. And the next one, the social texas. In a social, we always use something like another name, another calling for someone that has higher position than us, such as like Miss, Mrs., Mr., Professor, and also Doctor or a chief, kind of like that. We usually that kind of word. If in Indonesia we usually say PRT, which PRT, who's PRT. We use that kind of word, right, in order to refer to someone that lead. PRT is someone that lead a society, a group of society, a small group of society. That's what you call PRT. And then this kind of social texts is telling someone that has that kind of name, and they just use it to call him, to call them, such as like when you are a teacher and your student will call you like teacher, sir. They will call it sir or Mrs., ma'am, kind of like that, without telling your name. If you only heard it, if you only hear that kind of word, who whom you are calling to, whom you are pointing to, if we don't know the context. But if we already know the context, means that we can understand who is referred by this student. That's what we call social texts. So I think that's all the explanation about social texts, about the texts in the pragmatic. I hope it's clear enough and my voice is heard enough. It's clear. Thank you so much for your nice attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.